Hello, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today we're doing our shaky cam interior review inside a 2017 Toyota Prius Prime Advanced. Those last two words are the important ones. So, what those mean is that this is the plug-in hybrid with the advanced electronic stuff. And you'll see more of that in a minute. First off, let's just start out with the usual. For the most part, this is just like any other Toyota, especially any other Prius. The interior is pretty much the same. It has that cool white on black motif going on with some of the shiny black plus some of the matte black, and then this one has the blue rings around some of the bezels and so forth. Kind of a cool look. It's really kind of futuristic without being in your face. I kind of like it. It's one of those things that you either like it or hate it. Some people are really not going to like it. Whatever. This is basically a Prius on the road, so it drives like a Prius, which is not necessarily a great thing, but it does get terribly awesome fuel economy, which is kind of the point of this car. So over here you have doors and windows and so forth. Under here you'll see a HUD button. You can turn the head-up display on and off right there. You can control it through the infotainment. Here you have the automatic lighting. Down there you have you can see a little tiny button, maybe, hopefully. So there's a fuel port button, and right above that is a button to set a timer. So when you plug the car into charge, you can set a timer to have it charge starting at a certain point. So say you want to delay charging for about 3 hours because maybe you live in some communist republic like California that charges power at different rates during different times of the day, or some other BS. You can use that to take care of that. This right here is the I want to say self-parking, but that's really kind of a misnomer. It's assisted parking. As far as I know, there are no cars on the road that actually self-park. But this is the assisted parking button right there, and traction control, and of course dimmers. On the steering wheel, you have controls over here that control your infotainment stuff. So this controls your your music and whatever. So here you have volume. You can page through some of the stuff there, jumping tracks or changing stations. You can change the mode here, which changes which of the inputs you're using. So you can use like Bluetooth, your plugged-in USB device, etc. Here's your trip. That's for the trip computer. That actually shows in the central dash up on top there, which is where the instrument cluster is on a Prius. I'll get to that in a second. And down here's telematics and voice control. So control the phone here. Control everything else with voice commands here. Toyota's voice commands are decent. Entune is pretty good, but it's not great. There are some that are a little bit better. You may have to repeat yourself a few times on some things, but for the most part, Entune is pretty well done. I really like it. On this side of the steering wheel, you have heated steering, which is great, especially in a car like this because it's electric, so it uses electric power, doesn't require the engine to be running. Here you have your lane keeping, which is the lane departure, and also lane keeping assist here. This has adaptive radar, so you use this as your standard cruise control, and then this sets the distance on the adaptive cruise. This right here controls the infotainment screen over there. So this right here is how you page through menus and stuff, and your back button for that. Up here, washer, wipers, etc. Because this is the Prime, it does not have a rear wiper, so you don't have control for a rear wiper. Over here is the lighting control, so headlights, etc., all controlled right there. Up there, giant diesel Nissan, by the way, the exact opposite of this car. So right here, you have your basic instrument cluster. So over here is fuel and other things, speedometer and such. This changes. This is what you can flip through with the buttons over there to change what it's displaying. This over here is your gear, so what gear you're in and so forth, and a few other things. You can see what it is. I like this and I don't like it. I like it because it's different, and so it makes you think about it. Um, but I don't like it because I have to look down from the road to see it. It's not directly in front of the driver, it's off to the side. That's a little bit annoying. Also, if you have annoying passengers that are backseat drivers, they have full access to everything you're doing, and so yeah, they'll use that against you. But, you know, what are you going to do? So down here is the infotainment screen. Now you can see it's huge. It's a gigantic tablet. That's neat, except it's not that great. Uh, this is one of the few times, you can still see there's glare down here, but this is one of the few times I've seen this using this car that hasn't had a bunch of glare to where you just can't see what's going on. You have to move your head around to be able to see what's on the screen. Terrible glare on this thing, no matter the driving situation. It was a good idea, but poorly executed is the way I'm going to say it. I do like the interface. The interface is pretty all right. It takes a minute to get up to par on how to use it because it's very different than Toyota's standard Entune, and it's also very different than just about anything else you've used. But if you think of this as a tablet rather than as a car's infotainment screen, you quickly get the idea that, you know, when you swipe and you do things, stuff actually happens on there. So this is the menu. So if you push the menu button right there, this is what pops up. The home screen brings up the nav screen. You can change that in the settings, amazingly, which is kind of cool. So if you want the home screen to be, say, I don't know, music or a picture, like, you know, say a picture of your kids or something, you can actually do that here. Pretty cool. You know, as long as you have a device plugged in that it can pull a picture from, it will do that. You can put it on an SD card as well. Anyway, the menu here is pretty simple. This is info on the car. So when you bring that up, it shows you what's going on with the car, so you can look at like the energy table, which I look at a lot. I've been watching this a lot. It's kind of neat. So right now you can see it's purely just pulling the battery to run climate, doing nothing else, because I'm parked. So I don't know why I can't keep focus. The upside is I'm getting a new phone and camera pretty damn quick. So there you go. But when the engine's running, it turns red. When the engine is sending power to something, it appears in red, at least to the axle. When the battery's charging, this will be a green line. When you can see the battery is full, this indicates the battery's thing. I just unplugged this car. It's been charging for about 14 hours. This shows power going out. It will always be in that kind of amber color. So it's a quick reference. You can quickly see what the car is doing. You can watch it recharge from the regenerative braking. You can see power going to that. So if I shift into reverse, then the camera comes on, which I probably shouldn't have done. If I go forward, so if I go into drive and I let the car move a little bit, there you'll see you saw that. So that was the motor putting power to the wheels. So I'll park again so I don't roll off into something. You can change the perspective. So if you want to see this from this perspective, or you want to see it from a side perspective, whatever. I kind of like this one because it's a little fuller view, but kind of neat right there. That's one of the things on the menu. Other things on the menu, you can do things with your phone. You can set your map destination for navigation, and you can go to the app suite. These are, where are they? All right, let me do that again. I foresee a lot of cutting happening here. Oh, I didn't connect my phone. Duh, I just disconnected my phone to do this. So, if you have a phone connected, bam, an app suite comes up. I'm sorry, I forgot. I disconnect Bluetooth, so if I get a phone call or something, the whole car doesn't start going off. Then here's your settings for the vehicle, and here's the display settings to set settings on this display itself. Down here, pretty much always showing will be audio and climate, and then you can hit the climate button to bring that up and do more, and you can bring up the sound source, and you can choose where you want to play it from and do other things with it. Pretty neat. These back buttons always bring you back. And then the home screen, like I said, can be anything you want. Right now it's a map. So that's basically the infotainment. There are some fast buttons. I prefer dials for things like volume. That's kind of annoying, but because I have it on the steering wheel, it's not nearly as annoying as it would be. These, you can hold the button and it will go up and down faster, that kind of thing. You can turn audio on and off right here. It's like basically a fast mute button. I like that. That's awful dang useful. Over here are your defrost buttons, temperature setting there, and that's about it. Then you have the Prius shifter. So you have the usual. So I'll depress the brake so I can go through the gears. Down and over and down is drive, over and up is reverse, over is neutral, and then when you park by pushing that, and then off ramps and things like that where you need to slow down but you don't want to necessarily be shoving the brake all the time. Push this down, just tap it down, and you go into battery, which is similar in feeling. It's similar to an engine brake in a big truck, right, in a diesel vehicle. Because what it does is it basically gets way aggressive using the car's motor to slow the car down rather than using physical braking. So you can depress the brake and do regenerative braking that way, but Toyota's gotten to the point where you can't really feel the brake point between where the regenerative braking stops and the physical braking starts. With this, it's only regenerative braking, and it's very aggressive about it. Slows the car down a lot very quickly. Really nice because it shoves the maximum amount of power back into the battery that you can have. That's basically what this is for, and that's what I've been using it for. And to get out of it, you can just go back over into drive, or you can tap up, and it usually cancels it out. Over here you have your drive modes. So here you have standard drive modes, which are, I'm just going to push the button and remember them. So you have a normal mode, power mode, which is sort of like performance. You have to take into consideration this is a Prius, so that's a little bit subjective. Eco mode, which is probably should be the default. That's just maximizing power usage and fuel economy. And then you have that's the modes for this. Here you can force EV mode versus the HV mode. So if you want to be driving with the engine, you don't want the to go all electric even at low speeds, because maybe you want to save it for later or something, you can use this. And vice versa. If you want to force electric vehicle mode, you do it with that. This is EV Auto. So this basically says, anytime I can drive only in electric, do it. That's what that button basically does. There's probably a little more to it, but for me, as a driver feeling it, that's what I was getting. Down here you have the Q pad for the wireless charging for your phone. It's also rubberized, so when you throw your phone, it doesn't slide around a lot. On-off button for that is right there. This is also just a nice tray for throwing things. Down here, drink holders. Pretty standard size. You can get a Starbucks, maybe a little bigger in there. Over here you have your 12-volt plug, and here's your USB and audio. And this thing opens up sideways, has a little tray. Underneath is more storage. Pretty straightforward, not very large, but sizable enough, I think, for most people. Then, just looking at the rest of the car, I just want you to keep looking at those colors. I really like the colors in this car. And then the back seat. It's a decent back seat, not great, not terrible. One of the things they add in these is a little tablet holder. They are good-sized back seats for adults if the front seat passenger is not too tall. If they are a little bit tall, then not so much. And then, as with any Prius, the hatchback design with the open hatchback means a lot of cargo compared to many other vehicles. Now, because of the fastback slope, it's not as much cargo as you may have in some other car, and also it's very easy to really impact your rear visibility by having a lot of stuff in the back of this car. The side mirrors are good, but they are not huge, and they do have fairly sizable blind spots. So if without access to that rear view mirror, you do lose a lot in terms of your ability to see what's going on around you. Other than that, that is this car. That is the 2017 Toyota Prius Prime Advanced. Now, this is one of the more costly of the models, but it's also one of the, is also the most fuel efficient Prius you can buy. So, for those of you looking for nothing but maximum fuel efficiency, there you go. That's been the 2017 Toyota Prius. This has been Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and I'll talk to you again soon.